Hello everyone, this is my 7-round NFL mock draft using PFF Simulator for the New York Football Giants. And first, before we jump right in and start, I want to ask anyone if you could really help me out by giving me some advice or comments about what I can improve. I'm a new YouTuber here and I don't have a lot of experience with it. So any little bits or pieces here that you can help me out with, I'd love that and I'd really appreciate it. Okay, moving on to the selections that I made here. The theme of this draft with the Giants was I wanted to add a lot of depth and I wanted to try and add some weapons and some offensive line help to support Daniel Jones, to really see, because if there's not a lot of weapons on that roster, then it's hard to figure out and really know for sure if Daniel Jones is that guy or if you have to try and move on from him. At 7, I traded back a little bit. I'll get to the trades later. I just want to get to the picks first. Okay, at 7, I selected Jeffrey Okudah, cornerback, Ohio State University. He's a player that I love in this draft. I know the Giants took a lot of corners last year. They didn't really pan out very well. Maybe they'll improve, but this guy, he's looking like he's going to be a future Pro Bowl type of caliber cornerback. He's got fantastic size and speed. He plays man coverage really, really, really well. He just sticks like glue onto these guys, and I think he's like a top 3, top 4 player. So to get him at 7, that's amazing value. At 36, I don't know if he's going to be there. I think PFF rates this selection as a bit of a reach, but I didn't mind. I took Ezra Cleveland, tackle, Boise State. I think Nate Soldier is not very good. You signed him from the Patriots and he hasn't produced very well. This guy, I think he's an upgrade. He's very athletic, and he didn't give up a lot of pressures. He could maybe improve his technique or actually his technique's quite good. I think maybe just his strength a little bit. But overall, he's a super athletic tackle, and you don't get guys that are this athletic at 36 normally. At 38, I'm going to be honest here, it was a really tough selection for me because there wasn't anyone there that I was really in love with. All of the wide receiver weapons that I would have loved to have gotten were all gone, like just obliterated. So Baun, who I took here, Zach Baun, edge player / off-ball linebacker, University of Wisconsin. I took him here because he was the best value for that selection, and there wasn't any great trade back opportunities either. I think he would do well. I know some linebackers have been added this offseason for the Giants, like Blake Martinez, but I think Baun is better than Blake Martinez. He has to transition from an edge player to an off-ball linebacker, but if you use him correctly, if you blitz him on something like 50% of his snaps or somewhere in that area, he's going to add a lot of value, and he could blitz off the edge, he can blitz up the middle, you can kind of move him around and be a versatile chess piece for you. The risk or the uncertainty with him is that we don't know how he's going to do in coverage against the run, just being a basic off-ball linebacker when he's not blitzing, when he's not rushing the passer. That's the uncertainty and risk associated with him. At 64 and 69, I took back-to-back wide receivers because finally this is where the value and the board and the fit kind of really met each other. Chase Claypool, I see him more of a tight end, but I think he can still at least be an average wide receiver. And then Tyler Johnson is another guy that I really, really love a lot. I think he does have fantastic production at the collegiate level, and he just consistently gets open. That's what he does. He produces. he in that intermediate route. I don't want to say he's going to be Devontae Adams. I'm not saying he's going to be Michael Thomas, but those are two players that I think he comps or compares to very well. Not a speed guy, not a burner, but when you're just talking about route running and getting open and even some big playability down the middle of the field against safeties and linebackers, Tyler Johnson has that. Claypool, he's a bigger wide receiver, another kind of slot guy or tight end, but he gives you something different than what Evan Ingram is right now. So I needed to take threats and to figure out if Daniel Jones is the guy, so I went there. To just talk about the last couple of picks quickly, Jake Driscoll at 99, the offensive tackle from Auburn University. At 105, Brian Edwards, wide receiver, South Carolina University. And then 218, Reggie Floyd, safety, Virginia Tech. Now, these three, it was about, again, helping the offensive line, a one more weapon, and then safety is a position that the Giants could stand to at least have some depth with. I like Driscoll a lot because he's just really, really consistent in not giving up pressure. He's not, he's kind of the opposite of Cleveland in regards to, he's not a super athletic guy. He doesn't, if you're going to use him in a zone blocking scheme, he's not going to work out very well because he's a bit slower, but all he does is consistently block his guy and get in front of him and stay in front of that guy. And he playing in the SEC against those top pass rushers, that I think that speaks a lot about him. Brian Edwards, he's got a lot of run after the catch ability, a lot of yak in him, and he can make plays that way. Reggie Floyd, honestly, he's one of the few players that I haven't seen any tape for. I just, here at the 218th selection, I just wanted some depth and some competition for the safety position there. Now, let's look at these trades that I did. The first trade was to move back from 4 overall because I really think that's a bad spot. I'm not sure if Dave Gettleman's actually going to be able to, in real life, trade back or not. But for all the Giants fans, man, I really hope that he's able to do that for you guys and ladies, because you need that. You need some more draft capital, some extra picks. Because at the 4th selection there, outside of taking a quarterback, but you already have a quarterback in Jones, you don't get the value. You know, you could take Isaiah Simmons, you could take Tristan Wirfs, but you could trade up a couple of picks and get the same caliber player, literally the same caliber player, like 4 or 5 or 6 picks later, and pick up like a early second or whatever. So this specific trade, so moved back 3 selections with Carolina to the 7th pick, and got an early second and a early 3rd round pick, the 38th and 69th pick. And then to make that, to grease the wheels a little bit, I gave some later round, nearly at the end of the draft, later round, 7th round selections. I'm not sure if this is exactly what would really happen. I forget if a quarterback was on the board. If a quarterback was on the board, I think the Giants would want a little more in the trade. But if there wasn't a quarterback, I could see them taking a little less in the trade. Overall, I think it's kind of lopsided for the Giants and maybe about 25% realistic, as in something like this would actually happen. And then the second trade was I wanted to move up and get a wide receiver, because in this simulation, these wide receivers go really, really quick. So giving up 110, 183, and 255 to jump all the way up to the 64th pick. I'm not in love with it. I think it's like PFF grades. I win that trade 51% of the time. I think that's very accurate. It's not a great trade. It's not a horrible trade. But since the first 3 selections, the value wasn't there to take a wide receiver, and I really wanted to get some before the next tier of wide receivers were all obliterated and gone. So I wanted to move up and at least get a guy that that I liked a decent amount, as opposed to a guy that I was really lukewarm on. Okay, well, it's already been 10 minutes. If you've made it all the way through and are still listening to me, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. And you have a great day. Bye bye.